What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made these. Beautiful, delicious, cheesy, porky, scratch-made, amazing sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles, featuring some scratch-made breakfast sausage using the all-new Chuds BBQ breakfast sausage mix, some homemade griddle cakes, eggs, cheese, and yeah, it's going to be tasty. Coming up! This is some meat. Pat it dry. And what I got here is some pork belly. Some of this is already cubed up, but apparently this one wasn't. And the reason I got these specific cuts is because they look particularly meaty. And that's a good thing for what we're doing today, because pork belly can be very fatty, and there's definitely some fattier looking cuts at the store. But this stuff seems to have a good meat to fat ratio, which is a good thing, because today we're making some breakfast sausage. And with breakfast sausage, I really like to make it a little bit fattier than most sausages I make. And that's because breakfast sausage is competing with bacon for breakfast meat authority here. And if bacon is made out of pork belly, I think breakfast sausage deserves the same treatment. But also, whenever you make a breakfast sausage patty and you fry it off in a pan, you're gonna lose a lot of that fat anyway, so starting out with a little bit extra will make sure you end up with a nice juicy patty at the end of the day, or at the end of the morning, I suppose. But of course, you got plenty of options. You could use a pork butt or some leaner cuts with some fat back, whatever you can find, really. And although these are already cubed up, I'm gonna cut them down a little bit because my meat grinder is pretty small and I don't think that'll fit in there very well. But all cubed up, got 5 pounds today because, you know, if you're gonna make some breakfast sausage, you might as well make a lot because it freezes really well. But now I'm gonna pop this into the freezer to get nice and cold to make sure we get a nice clean grind. And as far as spices go for our breakfast sausage today, I am super excited to announce this, the all new Chuds BBQ breakfast sausage starter mix. And just look at it, it's a little sausage patty man in a bathrobe with his little wiener dog holding a cup of coffee. How cute! And before you go yelling at me for making yet another product, just trying to keep a roof over my head over here, the main reason we wanted to make this is because a lot of people are super curious about getting into sausage making, but are a little hesitant to spend all the money on a meat grinder and a stuffer and then learning all the skills it takes with casing sausage and all that stuff. But this stuff is great because it's breakfast sausage. You can just go out and buy some ground pork or turkey or whatever, throw in a pack of this, and make some patties, and it's a great introduction into the sausage making world. But of course, you can always case this up. You could probably use it as a rub. Haven't tried that yet. But like our other sausage mix, there's no pink salt in here, there's no binder in here either, and there's no MSG, which is something I fought for because I think MSG does work pretty well in breakfast sausage, but I know a lot of people don't like it. And we spent a lot of time developing this mix, trying to get those herbs and spices dialed in exactly how we want. And we actually went out and bought every breakfast sausage we could find at the store, cooked them all up, kind of compared and contrasted them, and really dialed in this recipe to make sure everyone involved was very happy. And I think it's some very tasty stuff. But of course, you don't have to buy this. I've got several videos on this channel making breakfast sausage from the past few years where I put all the ingredients and ratios in the description box down below. So if you don't want to buy this, you can easily use one of my other recipes. But this one is a little bit more dialed in. It makes for a fantastic sausage. Highly recommend it. Also now, chudsbbq.com. And now that our meat is coming out of the freezer, nicely chilled, through the grinder we go. Got the small die on there, and we're gonna send it through one time. Beautiful grind on that. Looking very nice, nice and fatty, but definitely a lot of meat in there as well. Nice and pebbly, which is a clean grind, which is what we're after. And this is 5 pounds, which is what this entire pack is rated for. But if you look at the front, there's kind of calculations if you want to do 1 pound or however much you like. So in we go. Oh, look at the color. So many herbs in there. Ooh, I can smell the sage from here. But now I'm gonna make sure this is all evenly distributed. To be honest with you, I'm kind of sick of breakfast sausage right now because we did like 20 different batches trying to dial this in to the perfect flavor profile. But then again, I can always eat a good breakfast patty. And once that's evenly dispersed, we'll go in with our liquid component, which is some water. Start out with about half, but usually about 10% of the weight, which in this case is about 8 ounces. 226 grams. Yeah, we're going with all of it. Help hydrate the spices and make for a juicy, plump patty. But I'm gonna mix this for just a few minutes till it starts getting nice and tacky and everything is coming together. Good God, that is cold. And just like that, that's all coming together, starting to look pretty good. And I'm not gonna mix this nearly as much as I would if I was trying to case this into a nice big plump link, because protein extraction isn't really as important for making patties, and we don't want them to be too tough. I made a batch over the holidays with pork butt that was a little less fatty, and I think I overworked it. And they were pretty dense and not as juicy as I wanted. But I'm still learning over here, folks. But just like that, our beautiful breakfast sausage is done and looking good. And now I'm gonna pop this into the fridge for a while. And it certainly isn't necessary to rest this in the fridge overnight, but it really does help, especially with a sausage like this that is full of herbs and spices. Letting them hydrate overnight is really gonna help improve the flavor. And during our testing over the last few months, we noticed a big difference between a freshly made and one that rested overnight. So I highly recommend it. It also gives time for that salt to start working on the meat. Ooh. And make sure everything is as tasty as possible. So, I'll see y'all in the morning. Next up, let's get started on our McGriddle buns. So I'm going into a sauce pot with about 1 cup of some maple syrup, and we're gonna bring that up to a simmer. And this is a little trick I saw Weissman do in his McGriddle episode that looked pretty cool, and I've always wanted to try it out, but essentially we're gonna bring this up to about 265 degrees, reducing it down, turning this maple syrup into like a hardball candy that we can then make little balls out of to infuse some maple syrup flavor into our griddle buns. It certainly does smell good, and I definitely recommend a taller pan than you think you may need because this stuff is gonna bubble up a lot. And after about 10-15 minutes, this has come up to 265 degrees, so we're gonna dump it out onto a Silpat lined baking sheet. Get it all out. This is some sticky, messy stuff, folks. It's also really dangerous, so be careful. Now I'm gonna try and get this into a nice thin layer. Let's let it roll around a bit. Looking pretty good to me, so now we're gonna let this cool down for about 10-15 minutes until it's not ripping hot anymore. And now that this is cool to the touch, we can go ahead and start making some balls, but I made it a little too thin on this side, so we ended up with some little candies. That's still snackable, but if we come over here, I think this thicker stuff should work out pretty well. Oop, maybe not. Yeah, this didn't work as well as it did in his video. Mine's not really rolling up. Might have got too hot, but we're trying to get little balls like that to put a little pop of maple. I guess these little shards will work too. Pretty cool technique though, nice and stretchy, but something like that is what we're looking for. This way we get little pops of maple in our buns without having to pour maple syrup in it, because that might burn up on the griddle. Now we're just gonna make as many of these balls as we can. Not gonna lie folks, that was a pretty tedious process to make these, but that should be enough to get us a couple of McGriddle buns, which is in fact the next step. Into a bowl, we're going in with some all-purpose flour, some sugar, kosher salt, and some baking powder. Then get that all whisked up, and then in with 1 egg. Break that up a little bit, and then in with some milk and some melted butter, and just get this all mixed together. Pretty standard pancake batter here, but a little extra baking powder, so hopefully these come out nice and tall. Looking good to me. Now that our batter is done, I've got my electric griddle that I pretty much exclusively use for making pancakes set up because it is in fact non-stick. So I'm gonna grab a ring mold and I'm gonna spray this down a good bit to try and minimize stickage. I'm gonna place that right in the middle and go in with a nice healthy amount of our pancake batter. I'm gonna try and go pretty thin because we are gonna be putting 2 of these on this sandwich after all, and they should rise up a good bit. Something like that. We're just gonna let it cook. And while that bottom side cooks, we'll go ahead and throw in some of these little maple balls we made. Boop. As many or as few as you see fit. Go ahead and poke those all the way in so they don't touch the griddle when we flip this thing. Beautiful. And after a few minutes, we start to see some bubbles, and we're gonna try and get this ring mold off. Ooh, not bad. And we'll go ahead and give it a flip, if I can get under it. Beautiful. Nice little McGriddle patty. Let's make another one. I really wish I had more ring molds, but it's working out. It would appear I made this one a little bit too tall, and it's not wanting to come out of the ring mold. So I'm gonna take this little spatula here and try and go around the outside, which may mess up the presentation, but we'll see. Hey, there we go. Lovely. So I ran out of the little balls because I didn't really feel like making enough because they're kind of a pain in the butt. So now I'm just using these little shards, and that's what I did on this one as well. And I think this is gonna work out even better because they're thinner, so they're gonna melt in a little bit better, and it's a lot easier to do. So if I ever do this again, I think I'm just gonna make this into the hard kind of, what do you call it, crack stage, and then just smash it with a little hammer or something and use these little shards because this is a lot easier. And just like that, all of our little griddle cakes are done, looking absolutely beautiful, I must say. Pretty happy with that. Not too thick. Good McGriddle bun sized, except for this one. This is the first one I made, which is a bit gigantic, but you can see little pockets of maple in there, and if we open it up, that's pretty cool. Oh, that is perfect. Very nice, light and fluffy, and I was worried that those maple balls would be a little too hard, but they softened up during the cook, and they eat just like a little piece of caramel or maple candy or something. Very tasty. But now I'm gonna pop these into a warm oven to keep warm, because we gotta cook some sausage. Out of the fridge, sausage is firmed up a bit, looking very nice. So now I'm gonna go ahead and form some patties that are roughly the same size as those buns we just made, but I'm probably gonna make them a little bit bigger because they will shrink up on the griddle a little bit. Something looking roughly like that. Got the old Chud press fired up. We're just gonna sear these off, get a nice crust on there, and make sure they're cooked through. Give them a little press, but I don't wanna make like a smash burger here. Just want some good contact. And just like that, fresh off the old Chud press, some beautiful scratch-made breakfast sausage. And one last thing we need to make is a simple egg. And to do that, super simple, non-stick pan, a little bit of spray, and one beaten egg. Beautiful. Now I'm just gonna kinda spread this around into a nice thin layer. It's pretty much already cooked already. Hit that with a pinch of salt. We're basically just gonna try and fold this bad boy up into a cute little square. Trying to aim for a square that's the same size as our bun and our sausage. But it's your McGriddle, you can do pretty much whatever you like. You know, sunny side, scrambled, or an omelet. In we go. And one more time. Maybe a little wider than that. That's looking about right for me. I'm gonna let this cook for another couple of seconds just to make sure the inside is nicely cooked. Toast that underside seam a little bit. And a super simple egg. And at long last, it's finally time to assemble our McGriddles. Starting by putting down our first McGriddle bun. I'm gonna brush a little maple syrup on there just for good measure. Although we probably don't need it with all the little candy bits in there. But that's a lot of pancake. Followed by a slice of American cheese. A beautiful breakfast patty. Loving that fit. Although, you know what I'm gonna do real quick? Gotta get those droopy corners. That's better. Followed by our beautiful egg. And then we'll maple our top bun. And the top pancake goes on. Super simple sandwich. But there it is, my version of the sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle. Let's make another one. Yep. Nope, cheese goes on bottom. Weird. Beautiful egg and our top bun. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. And there they are, folks. Some beautiful scratch-made McGriddles stuffed with maple syrup and some homemade breakfast sausage using the all-new mix. And I think it's time to find out how these came out. I never thought I'd actually make one of these for myself. I've only had them a couple times in my life. I remember really liking them when I was younger, but never made one from scratch. Ooh. Oh, that is phenomenal. Wow, there's so much maple flavor in that. Look at that bite I got. You can see the 2 chunks of maple in the top. That is fantastic. Not nearly as heavy and greasy as the McDonald's version either. Oh, it's so good. That is so good. That breakfast sausage is so tasty. Definitely the star of the show here. Egg is nicely cooked, not overpowering or anything like that. The cheese actually adds quite a bit too as far as texture is concerned. And those pancakes, they really are a perfect little bun. Oh. That is so good. The lighting right now is awful. I do apologize. That is fantastic, folks. Definitely worth making. I was skeptical about those pancakes because those little maple bites were kind of a pain in the butt to make, but it really only took like 20 minutes, all things said and done. And it makes a big difference because it melted right into the pancake. I mean, look at that. Pairs perfectly with that breakfast sausage. Got a little bit of background heat from that red pepper flake in the sausage mix, which is just like the quintessential breakfast sausage flavor, in my opinion, other than sage, but that is a well-rounded, fantastic bite of food. Oh. The McGriddle always seemed like a weird food item, like pancakes, eggs, bacon, and cheese, you know? Because when you're eating pancakes, you're gonna get maple syrup on your breakfast sausage no matter what you're doing. So to put it all together, pretty convenient. It is so good. So good. Highly recommend this stuff, folks. Very tasty breakfast sausage. Very happy with how that came out. Adorable little patty. That's it. I'm really glad I made like 5 pounds of this stuff. That's gonna last me a good couple of days. Ladies, would you like to try a homemade McGriddle?
Yes. Of course. Oh my god, this is thick.
It's a big boy.
Oh my goodness. How do you get the maple syrup in there?
You have to watch the video and find out.
So well. Really good.
I think breakfast sausage is my favorite sausage.
It is a tasty one.
And it's way more reminiscent of a pancake than good old McGee's.
Oh, this is so good.
Are you sponsored?
By McDonald's? No. That'd be sweet though.
No, this is okay. So this is with the new breakfast sausage mix.
Yep.
It's good.
Beautiful.
We've been working on it for a while. I'm pretty happy with how it tastes.
It's really good.
You did a great fold.
Thank
Like,
you.
Yeah, it's
McDonald's.
beautiful.
The egg was probably the easiest part of this.
I imagine.
Did you do it on this bad boy?
I did the sausage on that, I did the eggs in a pan, and I did the pancakes on yet another griddle, just to make as much dishes as possible.
Nice.
Your favorite.
Mapley bites.
Yeah, it's studded in there.
It's really cool how that works out so well, putting maple into the pancake.
All I know is I saw that there was like what looked like a glass sheet broken.
Yeah, I had a maple Breaking Bad moment.
Yeah.
But I was worried about it being too hard in there, but it like kind of melted in
it's
and infused
perfect.
perfectly.
It was so good.
Yeah, you can like see the herbs in this sausage.
Yeah, no, I always get the Egg McMuffin. I never had a McGriddle.
They're tasty.
But I'm sure this is way better than their version.
Super good. Yum, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Really good. What else are you going to do with the breakfast sausage?
I'm gonna eat it every day until it's gone or until I get gout. coming up.
Dang, it has so much flavor, and like, not that it loses its flavor, but it blends together so well. And this is like, you can make so many things with this. Yummy, yummy.
Alrighty.
Thanks for sharing.
I'm glad I made 3. I had no idea you were showing
I know,
up.
right? I came right at the right time.
It was perfect timing.
Oh, look!
And yet another sandwich.
Would you believe? It's a sandwich.
At least it's a breakfast sandwich this time. To be honest, I'm a little bummed she showed up. I was going to eat too, but I guess it's probably for the best. But without further ado, with this last bite of breakfast sausage, I think it's time for the official taste test. Yeah. All right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make some absolutely fantastic scratch-made sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles at home. I highly recommend giving this one a try. It takes a few steps, but everything we did today was super easy. And I suppose you could totally skip the whole maple candy situation and get away with just putting maple on the pancakes at the end of the day to make this even easier. But probably the easiest part was making that breakfast sausage. It's the easiest sausage I've ever made on this channel because, you know, you just got to grind some pork and throw that mix in it, and you end up with some very tasty sausage. Highly recommend checking it out. But of course, if you don't, you can check out one of my other breakfast sausage recipes on the channel. Also, big shout out to everyone that already found it on the website, even though I haven't even announced it yet. That's pretty cool to see. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you do give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Patreon members. Thank you for supporting Team Chud and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace.